Ellie! Fala, Dani Alves, beleza? E aí, Ellie, como que você tá? Quanto tempo, hein? Cara, achei um filminho aqui no... Achei um filminho aqui no menu principal do The Last, cara. E a galera pediu pra eu ver com vocês. Então a gente vai... Vou jogar aqui um multiplayerzinho pra aquecer e esperar a galera entrar. E depois a gente parte pro filminho, cara, do multiplayer do... Digo, o filminho do The Last. Lev the Chosen One. You are handsome. You are handsome, Lev the Chosen One. Thank you for stay here a little bit. Thank you. Please subscribe to my channel. Como que tá? O áudio tá bom? Tá, né? Gardebai, só passei pra dar o like porque tô desenhando. Pô, deixa o áudio, deixa a live rolando aí, bicho. How are you, the Lev, the Chosen One? Where are you from? Lev, the Chosen One. Me sigam para mais dicas. Oh, so you are my neighbor. I am Brazilian. Mi amigo, manito. Eu ganhei uma. O YouTube liberou pra mim uma forma de donate chamada Valeu Demais. Então, quando vocês abrirem meu vídeo, qualquer vídeo eu acho, vocês conseguem dar um donate. Por mais que não seja live, cara. Eu achei isso muito da hora, bicho. Ó, deixa eu abrir qualquer vídeo aqui, pera aí. Ellie abrindo a porta para o cameraman. Aqui, valeu demais. Mostra seu apoio com valeu demais. R$2, 5, 10 e 50 reais. Muito maneiro, cara. Valeu demais. Tô bem, Ellie. E você, como é que você está? Ellie. I love Brazil. It's really pretty. I have been there like 2 times. I want to go to Argentina someday. It's good because Argentina is the most near place that you can know there is snow. You know, snow. Tô vendo os vídeos estranhos do YouTube 2005, mano. Naquela época era só mato.
Certo, pessoal. Os vagalumes estão perto. Atire ou será atingido. Temos isso.
Não, tem muito vídeo estranho, cara. Tem muito vlog estranho, cara. Todo mundo quis ser vlog. Teve uma época que todo mundo era vlogger.
Peraí. Pronto, vamos lá.
Mano, essa câmera aqui tá me irritando. Agora melhorou. Fala, Love Guns, como é que você tá, mano? Love Guns. Tamo junto, bicho. Love Guns. Bom dia. Então, é por isso que meus vídeos são meio aleatórios também.
Soldado! Esse tá morto.
Deve ser porque eu tenho influência dessa época, sabe, Ellie? Ellie.
Intruso morto. Ele tá morto.
Quase que eu morro.
Merda, cara,
Essa brincadeira aqui.
assim.
Ah, meu Deus!
Droga, fui atingido.
Cuido disso.
Vou consertar você.
Merda,
Vídeo
foi
de sopa? Como é que é esse vídeo de sopa, Ellie?
Tô bem.
Me dá cobertura. Pronto, vamos lá.
Na real, cara, o YouTube não era uma plataforma tão viciante antigamente. Aí ficou viciante há pouco tempo, sabia? Ah, acho que eu já encontrei eu já ouvi falar desse vídeo recentemente. É um vídeo que o cara tá comendo sopa e chorando, né? E tem uns caras atrás dele meio que forçando ele a comer a sopa. Não é isso? Nossa, ele tá louco. Esse vídeo dizem que é bizarro. Caraca, os caras estão matando meu time todo, é isso? Não, não.
Rápido, merda! Eu tô morrendo!
Pera aí, bicho.
Peguei um! Ah, meu Deus, tô ferido! Merda! Um intruso morto!
Matei os dois? Não, não. Estou ali. Não, tô com medo. Tô aqui, ó. Querem dar a volta. Ai! Opa, já tomou dois anúncios, Lonely. Que maneiro, mano. Numa sala branca, mó bizarro, exatamente, Love Guns. É isso aí, cara. Alguém sabe qual é a história desse vídeo? Estelita Barbosa, qual o jogo? Esse jogo é chamado The Last of Us. Tá na descrição, é o título do vídeo. Seja bem-vindo, Estelita Barbosa. Oh yes, I have a Instagram account. It's the same name of my channel. LaVemODisco.
Não sobraram muitos! Continuem!
Rápido, merda! Eu tô morrendo!
Cara, vocês sabem dizer qual é a teoria desse vídeo? Porque é coisa meio maligna, né? Ui, não me viram, que beleza. Os restos da esposa dele, que doideira. Ah, que mentira. É sério, Love Guns? Que bizarro, cara. E o cara tá com uma cara de choro, né? Mas sei lá, também pode ter sido um vídeo pra viralizar, né? Não dá pra saber. Mas naquela época não existia muito isso, né?
Tá bom, cara, tô bem.
Ah, os bonecos eram de um artista e foi roubado no meio de um show. Mano, essa história só fica mais bizarra, cara. Quanto mais tu cavuca, mais
Tá bom, cara, tô bem!
mais bizarro fica, cara. Fala, Zeca Pagodinho. Essa conta é pra dar sorte pro disco? Valeu, mano.
Toma cuidado, vagalume! É bem soldado!
Cadê a galera, cara, que tava aqui ontem, que queria ver o filme comigo, bicho? Pra gente ver o filme do Making Off do The Last, cara, como que os caras fizeram o jogo. Ah, tava ali atrás, cara. É Deep Web. Deep Web.
Ah, venha pra cá e me ajude!
Como é que é, Zeca? Tô com duas lives. E Lonely e essa. Ah, tá, tu tá em duas. Fala, Hatch. Merda, cara. Volta aqui, seu puto.
Esse tá morto mesmo.
Meu Deus do céu.
Cuidado!
Esse tá morto mesmo.
Respeita o disco. Hermanito. Manito. Disco Pro Play, cara. Mano, só queria manter esse nível de Pro Play no The Last of Us 2 multiplayer, cara. Na moral. Cara, quando lança o multiplayer, se você quer ser Pro Player, você tem que sair na frente dos demais, cara. Foi assim com Fortnite, foi assim com o COD. Você tem que se destacar logo no início, cara. Pra você virar referência.
Muito menos.
Descobrir as táticas antes de geral. Tem essa. Tem essa. Tô bem, Zeca, tô bem, mano. E você, como você tá, bicho? Eu não sei se eu te perguntei se você tava bem, cara. Mano, mais uma atualização, essa arma vai virar a arma do capeta. É assim que todo jogo de tiro começa, mano. Se for multiplayer ainda. E o cara subindo a escada tranquilão, que isso? Que doideira. O cara tinha desistido da vida já. Tava subindo a escada tranquilaço. Ó o maluco aqui.
Soldado! Ele morreu.
Ó o maluco subindo a escada, tava assim, ó. Mó paz. Mó paz. Cadê o doido que tava aqui, mano? Ai, 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 ai. Que merda. Tava subindo que nem baiano. Tava subindo tranquilaço, cara. Que isso? Que engraçado.
Pronto, vamos lá.
Cara, parecendo uma batata subindo aqui, ó. Tranquilaço. Olha lá. Ah, mó paz. Parece eu subindo a escada do colégio pra chegar atrasado na aula de propósito.
São poucos, vamos acabar com eles.
O cara desistiu da vida. Mano, aí depois, cara, quando entrar uma galera que tava aqui ontem, que pediu pra eu assistir o filme do The Last, eu vou colocar, cara, daqui a 10 minutinhos, se não aparecer ninguém, digo, ninguém que tava ontem, né? Eu vou colocar o filme do The Last assim mesmo. Já coloquei legenda em BR. Hoje seu amigo xingou a professora de matemática, bicho. Do nada, cara. Conta essa história direito aí, Lovecans. Provavelmente o maluco que desistiu da vida tá se escondendo da gente. Pera aí. Ah, tá aqui.
Ele morreu. Esses caras de uniforme já eram.
Esses caras de uniforme já eram. Ó, o Hatplay não gosta de matemática não, mano. O Hatplay não curte matemática, pelo visto. Hey Berba, how are you, mate? My bro, how are you? Tipo, ninguém gosta da minha professora de matemática. Aí no final da aula, quando nós tava saindo da sala, ele xingou ela de vagabunda e ele saiu correndo. Mano, amanhã ele tá fudido, cara. Amanhã ele tá ferrado, cara. Como é que pode, bicho? O cara chamar a professora de vagabundo. Hey, bro, I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. I think I should feel more good than I am nowadays. But I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thank you. How about you, Birba? There is a lot of England guys here. I go run or I go just walk in the streets and I see a lot of England guys.
Certo, pessoal. Os vagalumes estão perto.
When you come here to Brazil, Birba, just let me know, mate. Just let me know.
Me dá cobertura. Pronto, vamos lá.
Let's go. Hey, Birba, today I'm planning to watch Last of Us movie. Yes, that is a movie that talk about the developers and how they created The Last of Us. Let's go. Yes, they are on holidays, I guess. A lot of England guys here. Unfortunately, it's not England girls, only guys. Oh yes, Isabella, miss you, brother. You have to be the husband that she needs. Fala, Ryan Gameplays, como que você tá, bicho? Tranquilo? Yes, it's the behind the scenes. I found it yesterday, and the guys told me to watch it during the live stream. Hi. I think he's with Tribeca and Ashley Johnson. I think. I don't have sure. But I think after this match, I'm gonna start the movie. Vai dormir, Ryan. Faz bem, cara. Tá tarde. Eu só consegui fazer live agora, cara. Infelizmente eu não consegui antes.
É, agora você aprende.
Nossa senhora, os caras que estão aqui.
Esse merda tá morto. Olha a fumaça.
Pensador, atenção.
Soldado morto. Peguei um.
Yes, like and subscribe. The hold for 10k are very difficult, but I think we're gonna achieve it someday, Birba. Let's go, mate. I think I will be more happy when I reach 10k than more happy than when I reach 1,000. It's crazy, mate. It's crazy. It's very difficult. Indeed, I think I will lost in subscribers some days. Fala, João Vitor, beleza? O Insta, cara, tá meio parado, bicho. Eu não tô com cabeça pra mexer muito no Insta de nutrição, cara. Tô meio desanimado.
Vagalume, bem ali.
Tá difícil, cara, tá difícil.
Eu tô morrendo aqui. Vamos, respire.
Eu dei mó gás e não adiantou muito, sabe? Aí tu fica meio desanimado, cara. Mas é assim mesmo, cara. Na real, eu tô investindo em outro projeto dentro da nutrição. Então, esse, como não deu certo Esse nem vai dar certo de primeira, sabe? É uma coisa que é a longo prazo. Então é... Então eu tava levando como se fosse algo meio que a curto prazo, mas a real é que vai demorar um pouquinho pra deslanchar, sabe?
Desgraçado morreu. Morto.
Vai demorar um pouquinho mais pra deslanchar.
Terminei.
Enquanto isso eu tenho que procurar alguma coisa que dê dinheiro, saca? Alguma coisa que eu consiga me distrair. Alguma coisa que eu consiga ter alguma realização, sabe? Uma coisa que me tire de casa, mano.
Tô ferido, tô ferido.
Ai, cara, que maluco chato.
Peguei um.
Sabrine que ele... Como é que você tá? Tô ainda assim, Zeca Pagodinho. Ainda tô, mano. Eu tô procurando trabalho, cara. Cara, tô doido pra encontrar alguma coisa pra fazer, cara. Não tô aguentando mais ficar em casa, sabe? Tô há muito tempo em casa, bicho. Completando pesquisas com informações falsas pra ganhar dinheiro e doar pra... Não precisa do Love Guns. Não precisa, mano. Hey, Birba, when are you gonna come back to play Last of Us? É, o YouTube tá foda porque não tá mais recomendando meus vídeos como antigamente. E mesmo que continuasse recomendando os vídeos como antigamente, uma hora ou outra eu teria que fazer uma coisa diferente, né, cara? Porque se eu ficar só vivendo de canal, talvez eu não tenha criatividade suficiente pra poder criar conteúdo novo, pra ficar de boa, pra fazer live, saca? A vida tem que ser um equilíbrio. Tô bem, Sabrina, que ele só tô com as mesmas questões de sempre, sabe? Ai, tem um maluco aqui, bicho.
Cuidado, fumaça. A minha bomba. Cuidado, fumaça. Cuidado. Tô ferido.
Ai, cara, que
Fui
mentira.
atingido.
Então, João, não deu não,
Tô
cara.
morrendo. Vamos rápido.
Deu só um aviso de... remoção da música. Mas isso sempre tem, cara. E não era em relação ao filme. O filme a gente...
Continuem.
Não sobraram muitos, continue. Então vai rolar o filme hoje, cara. Vai rolar, vai rolar.
Estamos prontos.
Então, ô Lonery, vulgo Zeca Pagodinho, eu rejeitei o trabalho, mano. Eu vou tentar mais alguma coisa. Vou tentar uma outra área dentro da nutrição. Antes de desistir de vez, tá ligado? Desistir de vez não. Desistir momentaneamente da nutrição.
Tá bom, cara. Tô bem.
Então, se isso não der certo, eu pego o emprego antigo. Mas eu achei precipitado entrar lá agora, saca? Sem tentar mais. A real, como eu tô bem cansado da minha vida, como ela tá agora, que eu aceitaria qualquer coisa, sabe? Mas esse qualquer coisa pode matar minha criatividade, saca? Então eu tenho que ter cuidado.
Cheio tá morto.
Então eu tive uma ideia e eu tô achando que ela vai funcionar.
Espera, vou consertar
Vamos
você.
ver, vamos ver.
Merda,
Tô aberto a todas as possibilidades.
Tô bem.
Oh, Birba call you lovely. If Isabella know that you call Sabrina Kaylee lovely, I don't think she's gonna like it. I think she's gonna be mad. Hi. Não, taca esse molotov aqui não. Motolov.
Terminei. Vamos.
É, cara, o problema é que não tá rolando trabalhar com o que gosta. Não tá rolando, cara.
A minha
Ah, eu sabia que eles estavam ali, cara.
Acabar com eles. Não devem ter sobrado muitos vivos.
Biscoito resenhado, cara. Trabalhar fazendo biscoito resenhado. We are buds. Beba, do you have bad days too, mate? This sucks. But I guess things gonna be better for us, my friend. Let's go, let's go. Matar o último cara aqui e partir o filminho do The Last. Vou até desligar a luz. Tum, 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 tum. Tá safado. Oh yes, Birba. I guess, mate, you should enjoy outside life sometimes. I really know how is this feeling.
Barbada, cuidado aí!
Vamos ver o filme? Let's watch the movie, Birba. Let's go. Cara, a espinha, cara, que nasceu aqui. Tá. Execuções. Vou voltar ao menu principal. Temperatura máxima com disco. Onde que tava isso aqui? Era opções? Créditos? Não. Mano, muito boa essa música, bicho. Só que vai dar diretoral. Caraca, onde tinha, cara? É bônus o jogo. No jogo. Imagens. Downloads. Ah, bônus. Colecionáveis. Marcas. Galeria. Ah, é isso aqui. Achei. Queria ser bonito aos 28 que nem o disco, mas eu só tenho 15. Então relaxa, mano. Tu tem mais 13 anos pra chegar lá. 13? É, 13 anos, mano. Dum, 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 dum. O filme a seguir.
Yeah, making the new IP is how can I put it? It's just don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's insane. I mean, it's a very difficult process. You have more questions than you have answers, especially when you come from like you've been making Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2, just kind of like now like things are going, you just kind of like good momentum, and then suddenly that momentum like just drops, stops.
Grounded.
It's a very challenging
Grounded.
process to create a new IP, and you're gonna fail over and over again. But that's what it takes.
New IPs are really hard. They're hard because you don't know what's fun yet. You're building new tech, new AI, establishing new characters.
Mano, eu tô
new
magro,
all
né?
this. You don't get that controller in your hand for like 6 months to a year.
You don't know. You don't know what it is yet. I remember like ages ago coming on the project and what are the infected going to do? Like, what are they going to do? They're going to behave like this. I'm like, okay, I'm like, trying to imagine what's going to happen. Fast forward like 4 months, they don't do that at all because it didn't work, right?
It's hard mode, right? Like, it's game development on hard, on expert.
There's a big thing about making a game, right? Which is a game has to
Salve,
be fun.
Vini,
You
beleza?
get your first build where everything's working. You got player mechanics. You can walk around the world. You can shoot. You can melee attack people.
E o pessoal
You've got
na
AI
Naughty
there
Dog
that's very
é...
intelligent.
Ah, não tem como travar, cara. Não tem como adiantar o filme. Tem que ver ele de uma vez só. Que doideira. Não pode parar o filme pra falar. Tem que assistir ele de uma porrada só. Que louco. Hey, good night, Beba. Thank you, mate, for stay here a little bit. And if you need something, just let me know, okay?
Yeah, making the new IP is how can I put it? It's just don't do it. It's insane. I mean, it's a very difficult process. You have more questions than you have answers. Especially when you come from like you've been making Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2, just kind of like now like things are going, you just kind of like good momentum.
Os caras botam muito detalhe no jogo e não botam um botão de pausa. Exatamente.
It's a very challenging process.
Have a good night,
Beba.
Beba. Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Over and over again. But that's what it takes.
New IPs are really hard.
Are you download
They're hard
Telegram
because
to stay in touch with you?
You don't know what's fun yet. You're building new tech, new AI, establishing new characters, new
Não dá pra
art,
parar
all
o
this.
vídeo, cara, que
You
vacilo.
don't get that controller in your hand for like 6 months to a year.
You don't know. You don't know what it is yet. I remember like ages ago coming on the project and what are the infected going to do? Like, what are they going to do? They're going to behave like this. I'm like, okay, we're like trying to imagine what's going to happen.
Grounded.
Fast forward
Esse aí,
like 4
mano.
months, they don't do that at all because it didn't work, right?
And
hard,
Beba, I don't know
Right? Like, it's game development on hard, on expert.
how to
There's a
find
big thing about
finding
making a
you
game, right? Which is a game has to be fun.
in the social
You
media,
get your
mate.
first build where everything's working. got
You are a very
player
low
mechanics,
profile.
You can walk around the world. You can shoot. You can melee attack people. You've got the AI in there. They're very intelligent, very difficult. And it's totally not fun because they snuck up behind you and murdered you in a second, and there was no way to figure out what was going on. We're making a game, by the way. Hey, James.
Oh yes, so I will search for you on Twitter. What is your Twitter account, Beba? Olha as tubulações, cara.
The company has grown quite a bit since I started. I think I was the 12th employee or something back when we got started, but we've tried to stay true to those smaller studio roots.
I've been here for 16 years. There's just no reason to leave. I just like the environment here. It's very non-corporate.
I think the way we work on Naughty Dog is kind of special because we don't really like hierarchy.
Caraca, o
or
maluco trabalha na mesma
bureaucracy,
empresa há 16 anos, bicho.
No one is really just a manager here.
Naughty Dog has a very flat structure. We pretty much all report to the co-presidents and the game directors.
I always tell people when we hire them, just like my job is going to be able to trust you, and that's what I want. I want just to give you something and just you go with it, and I know it's gonna get done.
We believe in iteration, we believe in collaboration, and we believe in
Cara, meu
the
pescoço
people
tá
making the
fino,
game
cara, que
working
isso.
directly with each other.
We have designers and artists, animators, all mixed up. Anybody that's working on the same
Em Twitter is
tasks,
Beba
the same characters, the
Spin9.
same areas, put them next to each other so they can communicate a lot better.
Are you
We have a lot of
download
meetings
and
because if
search
you
for
need
you
something
over
to
there?
get done, you just walk over and you talk, and then you go back to your desk and you finish it up.
and I really like that. I like when just
Spinner.
walk in the office and I see just designers talking with the programmers or programmers over the animators talking to them. I think that's when really the magic happens.
Naughty Dog, we really try to cultivate a culture where anybody can criticize anybody else's work.
And we encourage people to be blunt about it and not try to sugarcoat it too much. It takes too long to be nice sometimes.
It's not personal. It's based on more like how can we make a better game.
We want everybody to have a voice. We want to cut out all the bullshit if we can.
Nice,
sure
be
making
nice.
decisions not based on ego, but what is going to benefit the game.
When you see that people trust your opinion and that they value it, it's such a great feeling. You really feel like you're working as a team on a collaborative effort.
We want to sort of remember
Good
where
night,
we came
Beba.
from and
I already
why
found
we
you
were
on Twitter.
successful then and try to
I have to
continue that
remember
success.
what is my password so I can follow you there.
Back when Uncharted 2 wrapped up and we decided that we were going to build this second team and create a new project, we kicked around a lot of ideas. One of the very earliest ideas was to go back to Jak and Daxter. It's really near and dear to us. We really love those characters in that universe, and we think that there are some interesting stories still to be told there. We started to realize that it was not going to do justice to the franchise that the fans had fallen in love with. It would be shifting it so far in a new direction that we felt that effort would be more justified in developing a new IP. Neil and Bruce came to Christoph and I and said they wanted to do a post-apocalyptic game. I think the core essence of what they wanted to do, though, was to try to tell a story about two people and how their relationship evolved over the course of the entire game.
That potential.
Isso
wow,
foi genial,
there's something
cara.
very special about that game. This is going to be.
Hey, Cadence, how are you?
Sure, if it's gonna work or not, and you have doubts, and like, should we be doing a game like that?
Oh, you are watching the developers of Last of Us 1.
All those questions.
They already talk about how they created Last of
the,
Us.
the core of the team that have to really see eye to eye.
That's why you have that balance between like Bruce and Neil, and Neil's gonna try to push the just the story and the characters, and Bruce is going to try to push that with
How are you,
just the
Cadence?
gameplay as well. And so it's kind of like those guys are just trying always to find the right balance between the two. It's a very dedicated process.
We feel that the interactive medium has an untapped potential to touch the feelings of the player. You have that connectivity, the fact that I'm actually in the world and participating in what's happening on the screen in front of me gives us some sort of advantage to make you feel connected with what's actually happening. At Naughty Dog, that's what we're trying to do, is pair story and gameplay together. If we can make you feel like you're actually
Cara, que irado esse take, cara.
with these characters on that journey,
Filmaram a
and
Ellie
you're invested
refletindo
in those
no
stories
olho
and
do
those
cara.
characters, then you're feeling in theory, the same thing that they're feeling.
Que foda. Nem eu, João Vitor. Eu tô aqui maravilhado, bicho.
Took different shapes and different forms. The thing that was always there was Joel and Ellie. And because of that, everything kind of grew out of that relationship.
We've seen kind of that role of the anti-hero change, especially the last 3 to 5 years, to where before it was like, the thick-neck mercenary kind of guy. For this game specifically, for this story, we needed something new.
The reason we didn't want to make Ellie Joel's daughter from the get-go is because he wouldn't have anywhere to go. Of course, at that point, he'd be willing to do anything for his daughter because that is what a dad would do for his daughter. They didn't even know each other at the beginning of the story. And we start from scratch. It's almost like the player has the same relationship to Ellie as Joel does. And we could take our time to build that relationship between these characters. And if we do it right, then the player will be feeling that same growth that Joel does. And we're kind of mirroring that emotional relationship between the two.
Seu relógio tá quebrado.
What are you doing?
Killing time.
Well, what am I
Valeu,
supposed
mano.
to do?
Tamo junto, Zeca.
I am sure you will figure that out.
Boa aula pra você amanhã, bicho. Boa noite. Obrigado pela presença.
The watch is broken.
It's exciting that Neil
wrote something like this, where he's like, I don't want to make the stereotypical characters. I want to make real people in this crazy situation.
Ela é bonitona, ela, né?
Forced to make decisions that are really tough. Like, what would we be like in those situations?
Acontece.
I mean, we weren't consciously
Caraca, ele
trying
tá a
to
cara do
pick
Pedro
male or
Pascal.
female
Olha lá.
characters. You just
Olha o
try to
Joel,
pick
mano, a cara do
characters and
Pedro.
Just be honest with who they are. It almost doesn't matter, right? Joel's daughter could have been Joel's son. Ellie could have been a boy. And
Olha, tá a cara do Pedro Pascal. Ah, e... esse não.
the story would have still worked.
The focus on female strength. It's so unique. You get to
Essa aí é a
see
Marlene, né?
what's so powerful about a woman through all
Nessa
of these
brinquedo.
female characters.
E é muito bom ver os criadores falando, né, cara? São os pais do game.
Fireflies will meet you at the Capitol building.
That's not exactly close.
You're capable. You hand her off, come back, the weapons are yours.
A
Double what
musiquinha
Robinson.
rolando no fundo
Speaking
também.
of which, where are they?
Back in our camp.
We're not smuggling shit until I see them.
I want Joel to watch over her.
Whoa, I don't
Well,
think that's
shit,
the
I'm not
best
Ellie.
idea.
him.
Ellie.
How do you know them?
Ellie.
I do think having a strong female character, especially like Ellie, is so rare in video games. And as a
Caraca,
gamer,
ela é bonitona
and
ela
more
mesmo, né?
specifically a female gamer, it's frustrating to me because
Será que ela daria mole pro
see
Disco?
sort of the stereotypical female character where she's amazingly beautiful and huge boobs, and she's there to be either the love interest or just because they're like, well, we need to throw a chick in here.
We've seen the strong woman, or we've seen the weak woman.
Cara, eles são
We
parecidos,
haven't
mano. São...
necessarily seen the empowered woman from this kind of standpoint. And there's that beautiful scene where Joel finds her inside the house, and she's reading through this girl's journal, going, is this really what they used to worry about? What shirt do I wear, and what boy am I going to go out with? You know, and to be met with those first world problems that we deal with every day and go, how trivial is all of this? I think it's going to resonate a lot, not just with, you know, a female audience, but with a male audience as well.
The thing that was intriguing to me after the fact is knowing that we're kind of creating
Thomas e Turburo. Fala, Thomas.
To sort of be
Bem-vindo,
such a
cara.
strong female character that
Blind Spot. Ah, acho que eu ouvi falar. É ela, né?
regular t-shirt and
Eu acho que eu já vi essa série.
she's 14 and
Eu vi 10 minutos dessa série.
she's still a total badass.
É boa, Sabrina Keeler.
Is really exciting to be a part of that.
There's so few non-sexualized women in video games, especially in the main role, that we were kind of proud that we were creating one. It's very complex, and without the players knowing it, she becomes the protagonist by the end of the story. And that's why she's in the front of the box, and that's why we've been promoting the two of them together so much.
It is a dual protagonist game, and yeah, I guess I get nervous to think about it in that way.
We couldn't talk about it. In fact, in interviews we've been lying about it, saying you never.
Nossa, tá gastando muita munição aí nessa parte que não pode.
Sorry, journalists.
Here we go. Sorry. Hold on. That's it.
The tone of the game was set pretty early on that we knew that we wanted to make a really grounded story. We knew that we wanted to make the player feel the sense of tension and dread and go through the same emotional roller coaster that Joel and Ellie were going through.
One of the things we kind of struggled with is to say, well, if we want to really ground this world and make it so like realistic, maybe we shouldn't have anything that could be perceived as a monster. Maybe like by just having an infection that just killed people, and it's all about humans and how they deal with this post-apocalyptic society and how different people decide to survive. Maybe that would be enough. And what we realized is because we're making an action game, a lot of the storytelling happens on the joystick. And once we remove the infected, it's like all of a sudden now we can't tell the story through gameplay.
Mano, que proposta boa, hein?
And that's where we kind of went back and kind of brought the infected back in, because it lets you see, once you're fighting them, the threat that people have to deal with, that otherwise would just be very cerebral and people could talk about it, but you couldn't necessarily experience it yourself. In a novel that might work, in a game for us, in a specifically an action game, it didn't work.
And from there, when we start kicking around those ideas, and we're just like, what would be cool just to play?
The early inception for it really came from a BBC video we saw called Planet Earth, where they were talking about a cordyceps fungus.
This cordyceps fungus gets inside of the brain and controls these ants, and mandibles start chomping, they grow up to higher areas, cordyceps fungus sprouts out, and then it germinates.
And essentially uses them to spread its infection and take over whole colonies, sometimes wiping them out. As soon as we saw it, we were intrigued by the idea of what if it jumped to humans?
Yes, ser louco.
So what would happen? How would people react? What would happen to society? As we're trying to develop the look of the infected, we went through so many different iterations. Some that looked really alien and subhuman, some that looked essentially like zombies, and we couldn't find like an original place for them. But one of our artists just did this kind of photo mashup where he took a bunch of images of diseases or images of fungal overgrowth, and he kind of mashed it all together and he threw it on this person.
It was a very iterative process, making sure that the fungus felt properly integrated, like it was part of the body growing out of the body.
É muito massa nessa brinqueira, tô me amarrando,
drawing
cara.
on the head, but it's tearing the face apart, cleft down the middle, this gaping maw of a mouth with the crooked teeth.
And it's in great agony as its humanity and its brain is still somewhat functioning. Maybe you still have some human cognitive abilities or thought process back here.
This isn't some decaying corpse on the ground. This is a living thing that's going to be coming after you in the world.
The fungus is always the focal point, so you can see from a distance.
Os caras têm que ser muito inteligentes, cara. Foi esse moleque que fez os infectados da forma que a gente conhece hoje.
Something so horrific that it's going to like stop at nothing. It's relentless force of death, and yet elements of it are beautiful. It's not just about gore. It's not just about.
Nossa, esse aí tá bonito, hein, cara, com essa máscara.
It's actually scarier when things
Esse é o clicker original.
Somewhat benign or somewhat beautiful.
It was evident that we were onto something that was quite a bit different and something that we hadn't really seen before, which was eerily human but very disturbing.
And it seemed so creepy and so unique that right away we gravitated towards it, and it's like, this is our base infected. Everything should kind of come out of this look. So once we had this idea of the face-splitting kind of look that eventually became what we called the clicker stage.
We went to great lengths to create a full biological cycle for these things.
So in the early stages, you don't actually see too many signs of the fungus surfacing out of the skin. It's kind of underneath it, like people have lumps starting to show. The eyes will be kind of cloudy or lopsided because the fungus originates inside the head.
That moves into the next phase, which is the clicking phase.
And if they mess with the eyes, we end up saying, well, how do they get around? Oh, echolocation.
And they use a form of echolocation to track down their enemies.
Just like bats, or even some blind people can see by making a clicking sound, a sound that on its own wouldn't be very scary. And then to associate it with something that people in this world are very fearful of, so that as you're exploring an environment, all of a sudden you hear this click, and you're seeing everybody just get frightened, just everybody duck, everybody hushes.
A ideia do clicker foi genial, cara. Ó o moleque criando baiacu, cara.
The most severe of the stages. So large pieces of the body has been replaced by these kind of fungal plates.
The fungus completely takes over the body and blooms.
They're kind of covered.
Cara, eu acho que no The Last 2 não tem a história do Rei dos Ratos, ou tem? Hey, Poison Rose, how are you? Poison Rose, Stephanie, French Helly. You have a lot of names.
When the infected feels like it's going to die, it finds like a dark corner and it becomes part of the environment.
The human elements aren't there anymore.
And then the body is gone.
They lay down and sprout and then spew spores.
Vira broto.
And if people can breathe those spores, they become infected as well.
Ah, cara, tem uma fase de infectado que tu vira parte da parede.
And that's hopefully how we've created a world that you can kind of look through it and understand the science behind it and say,
Foi mal, rapaziada. O controle descarregou. Vou colocar pra carregar aqui rapidão.
really grounded with a lot of texture. What happens, you know, after 20 years of the fall of man, when no one's taking care of anything?
This book called The World Without Us describes in detail how much fighting on a day-to-day basis we have to do to keep nature back. And once you stop doing that, how quickly nature can reclaim that. As they talk about New York, and how every day they pump water out of the subway system. That system breaks down within 2 days, a whole city is flooded. And once water gets introduced, then structures collapse pretty quickly. Trees will sprout, and wind will carry those seeds over, and gutters get clogged, and then when it rains, water fills up, and then pretty soon you have vegetation growing over there, and once you have vegetation, concrete breaks pretty easily for when there's a tree and roots break into it.
Esse prédio aí foi reutilizado no The Last 2, né?
You know, exploration of how temples were ruined. What if you took those ideas and put them in Pittsburgh or Boston?
And obviously right when that happened, you can imagine that being pretty terrible to look at. But you think about 20 years later, and with rainwater filling up those sinkholes and then those becoming like little marshes with lily pads in them.
We had this wonderful piece of concept art we developed really early on, and there are all of
Fala Prime, atrasou, bicho. Cheguei aqui, ainda tem tempo. Tem uns 25 minutos que já começou.
Now they have herds roaming these cities, and that's something that tells you that life goes on, and this world is worth saving.
Ó, cena da girafa, cara.
There's something really pretty about nature reclaiming its domain.
Fala Prime, como que você tá, bicho? Como é que foi teu dia?
Another level of OCD of the logic goes into some of these environments. Water damage seeps in, and then that creates some little moss growing on the floor, or a tree radiates energy from its base.
Cara, eles estão usando muita coisa do rascunho do 1 no The Last 2, cara.
Leaves showing through in the snow. That gives it that extra
Meu, vamos tudo chorar.
believability. This is pitch art. I'll try to
Show,
start with an
Prime.
idea that conveys
Dia cansativo é dia bom, cara.
something like this, very brushstrokey, very painterly. You can see not a lot of detail, just energy and conveying a mood. This is sort of just a conversation starter, and then this would be more of an actual space. So you start talking about, is this too tight of a space right here? Would the player even fit through there? Do we even want to include
Às vezes
water?
dá sono,
Those are
né, mano?
conversations you start having a little bit later. And then it usually needs several more passes back and forth in order to be tightened up to be the experience.
Ó, tudo foi
that you see in the
desenhadinho,
final
cara.
product. So, dude, I was actually trying to figure out right here, there should probably be some dead foliage.
It might be cool to see some of the dead stuff around the edges of the green, or like even spilling out into the street.
Maybe what we do is, in some of these areas, we use it as like a
Mano, será que eles não querem me contratar não pra trabalhar lá?
actual concrete.
Eu ia na boa pra trabalhar lá, bicho.
Sitting on top of a bed of
Do jeito que eu tô distribuindo o currículo, cara, não duvido um currículo meu chegar lá.
Yeah,
color.
sienna or something would be nice. Something real cheddary.
That's how you know you're done. The end product often ends up being stronger because that bouncing back off somebody else gives you a result that maybe you wouldn't have even thought of in the first place.
All right.
Nossa, o jogo
Here's
foi
the
muito bem
bridge. That's our
desenhado,
way out
cara.
of here.
A direção artística que escolheu as cores, os padrões de cores, foi... acertou em cheio, cara. Os caras não erraram em nada.
Because they've got like a really good like visual imagination. At some point, you came in.
Vou pegar uma água. Vocês fiquem assistindo aí, porque se eu der pause aqui, não tem pausa. Volta tudo do início.
The bus station is right in your peripheral view, and you're probably going to enter the bus station. You're probably not going to get lost. But it doesn't at all utilize this cool architecture here, like the bus station sign. Like that's a really distinctive silhouette, and it's a really interesting sort of architectural detail. So we changed the entrance.
Look at that. Another city, another abandoned quarantine zone.
I think it's a better composition anyway. It's not so like symmetrical, and I think that was done so that this sign read better. If you didn't see the word bus on it, you might not know it's a bus station. So I think that helps.
Everything we're doing in the environments is relating back to what you should be feeling in the story or what's happening to these characters.
Was that everything you hoped for?
Jury's still out. But man, can't deny that view.
Come on, this way.
When we first came up with Ellie and Joel, we had this idea in our heads of who they would be, but we didn't necessarily know the voice.
It took us a while to find our Joel, but for Ellie, I think Ashley was the second or third candidate to walk in, and right away we knew.
Yeah, you know
Why
why?
are you so scared all of a sudden?
Because I'm a coward, okay? So just get your shit. Let's get at it.
Damn it. I'm not like her, you know.
What?
You think I'm gonna end up like your daughter?
The way she delivered the lines, the way she just embodied that character is like, that's Ellie, there's no question about it.
I saw the character artwork and I related to her a lot. I mean, she's kind of a tomboy and she's kind of tough, and I mean, obviously I'm not 14, and I think that's the main difference between the two of us. I read the scenes and I was like, I need to play this part.
You wanna be my hero? Forget the whole bit about saving my life. Buy me a stack of these bad boys instead.
Where'd you get that?
Back your bills. I mean, all this stuff was just lying around.
Then once we had her, we said, okay, well, we're gonna do another round, and we're gonna
Que eu perdi? Que eu perdi? Fala aí, Tolo Maurício. Fala, Buganizando, Babage ou Fortnite. É o filme do The Last of Us, cara. É o filme dos bastidores.
Frosty hair and totally looked like Final Fantasy. And so
I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He's like this tall, pretty.
Final Fantasy.
I walked into the room fully aware that I was the youngest person that they were seeing for this role. And there was a line that was in the audition side that says that Joel has few moral lines left to cross. And so that became the anchor point to the character.
But then as soon as he spoke, and he had the grit in his voice,
warm, yet kind of dangerous.
Poucas linhas morais para cruzar. Então a gente já sabia que o Joel ia fazer bastante merda. Mas só que as merdas que ele fez são totalmente compreensíveis, cara, pelo panorama que se dava, que se deu o mundo apocalíptico, sabe? Isso aqui é dentro do jogo do The Last, cara. É um bônus que eu encontrei no jogo. Sempre tem umas falas que não foram. Sempre tem, cara, verdade, Prime.
I've done some video games in the past, but to be handed the mantle of a franchise like this was a pretty big honor. Is she alive?
Mas é muito interessante vê-las, né?
She's alive. She's David's newest pet. Ah!
Where?
In the town. She's in the town.
Right.
Get on the map. It better be the same exact spot your buddy points to.
Neil pulled me aside one day, and he said, I have some ideas. And
esse cara foi o David,
you're well aware, Neil is a little twisted. He came up with this character, and I just jumped at it. It was such a departure from everything I've done here for Naughty Dog, to say the least.
Name's David. This here's my friend James. We're from a larger group. Women, children. We're all very, very hungry.
To be able to put on a voice that, hopefully a lot of people won't know, won't notice that it's even me. Because we didn't want it to be Drake. Drake eating people, that's a whole nother game.
Ah, tem meia hora já, Ítalo. Já tem meia hora que a gente começou a assistir.
Tiny pieces. See you tomorrow, Ellie.
Certain voices that
Mostra
I could
dele, Ellie.
wouldn't fit the David's artwork, but he showed me the art, and I
said maybe it's something like this, where everything's, it's very quiet, and just, he's not really sure, and the voice can break a little.
And
Caraca, a voz dele, cara.
So I'd love to tell you we hashed it over and we talked.
Igualzinho.
I looked at the picture and I tried something. He said,
a few weeks back,
Drake comendo pessoas, como assim, Buganizando?
Sent a group of men out nearby town to look for food. Only a few came back.
Carinha de inocente dela, né, cara?
Turns out that the others had been slaughtered by a crazy man.
Como assim, Ítalo? Assistindo o começo da live e não tava respondendo ninguém?
You see, everything happens for a reason.
Ashley, she brought humor to it.
She just has some really great comedic timing. The way she reacts to the things around the world with a little bit of sarcasm, that teen kind of like trying to get a rise out of you.
Watch your step as you're going over, 'cause it's going to be a little...
It just brought a certain levity to the story that the story needed. You didn't even realize it needed it until she started doing some
verdade.
stuff.
Oh, I'm sure your friend will be missing
Ah, tu colocou
this
errado,
tonight.
Ítalo. Entendi.
Light on the reading, but it's got some
O cara falou que o Drake tá comendo todo mundo.
Ellie, that ain't for kids.
Perdi essa, hein?
How the hell would he even walk around with that thing?
Get rid of that.
Hold your horses. I want to see what all the fuss is about. Oh, why are these all stuck together? I'm just fucking with you. Bye-bye, dude.
Throughout the course of shooting, over
Caralho, é a
these
melhor
last
cena do
couple
jogo, mano.
years, Ellie and I have kind of morphed into each other, which I know sounds so cheesy. Neil
Por que as páginas
always
grudam?
asks, he's like, well, what would you do in this situation?
I think the most important thing that Ashley brought is a sense of capability to Ellie's character that wasn't there in the beginning.
É meio desconcertante, cara, mas só que ele tem a essência do Joel, cara. A gente se acostuma, né, cara?
It was written that Ellie sort of was just kind of watching on the side, just waiting till he was done, and I was a little frustrated because I was like, well, if this were real life, I would do something.
We did a couple takes, and at some point she walked up to me and she said,
Nossa, essa água tá com gosto de cebola com suco de uva.
Like, you know, right there off the bat, she's not just this damsel in distress. Right there, she wanted to fight back from her very first day of shooting.
We didn't have it right initially. She needs to be more capable than initially we thought she would be, and actually that made us go back and rethink combat and rethink a lot of the areas in the game. And now she was going to take a much more active part.
Anything that requires, you know, a lot of body movement, we do with the actors.
Mano, que água com gosto estranho, cara. Tô
Try as
puto.
much as possible to use our actual principal actors, use their body motion as well as their voice. We captured all at once there on the stage.
Having the actors
Ah, é a bala que eu tô
perform as
comendo,
well as
cara. A
being
bala
recorded
pra
at the same time
garganta.
is imperative to get an accurate performance. Because every time you split up the performance in any way, you lose some of that magic where they did a gesture or they delivered the line a certain way. And those things have to be insane.
Água de esgoto.
Or there's just something subconscious.
Biscoito
that's, like,
resenhado e água de
off-putting
esgoto.
about the performance when you don't do it that way.
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. I have lost people too.
Fala, Cleverson Instalador, já ouviu falar de Wayfaring Stranger? É uma música, não é?
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone.
Ei, Carpe Diem, Neil Druckmann. Neil Druckmann.
Don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
It gives you the most authentic, most
A cara do Joel.
performance because you're actually there, not just making your own choices, but making your own choices based on the other.
Esse cara tem cara de criança, né? Como que você tá, Cleverson Instalador? Quem é aquele homem que tem 500 mil inscritos que comentou no meu vídeo, mano? Eu não entendi o que ele faz até agora. Ele faz parkour, é isso? Ah, o ator que faz o Tommy, cara, eu nunca vi ele.
Probably isn't scripted, that just comes out of play, you know, while they're performing that mistake that was
Sabrina tá aí, cara. Sabrina Keilo. Rick Derrillian. Ah, ele é mágico também? Ele faz de tudo, parkour mágico. Ele gostou do meu canal, cara, quando meu canal explodiu. Ele comentou umas 3 vezes nos meus vídeos já. E é o Bill.
We're square. And get the fuck out of my town.
I don't do a lot of voiceover work.
O Tom é mais Joe que o Joe? Que isso, cara? E a Maria, mano? A Maria é bonitona, bicho. A Marlene também é bonitona. Mano, eu queria muito trabalhar aí, cara. Pelo amor de Deus. Então, foi a pergunta que eu me fiz, João Vitor. Eu não sei se tem. Eu vou procurar. Mas eu acredito que não, cara. Senão já tinha vazado já, cara. Por causa da Dina e da Abby. Caraca, isso aí é bonitona também, hein? E aí, Game Escrever, como que você tá? A gente tá vendo o making off de The Last aqui.
Everyone that was on this is a slam dunk. This isn't just
Eu só não consigo dar pause.
That creates a really cool energy for people to really start.
Ei, cara, é verdade, Cleverson. A Marlene vai ser a mesma atriz. Eu acho que pra série The Last da HBO, eles tinham que usar os mesmos atores, porque esse cara já tem a essência do jogo. Já tem a essência da história.
Hey, oh, let her go. Don't worry, this is fixable. But I can't come with you.
Well, then I'm staying.
Ellie, I want Joel to watch over.
Oh, no, no, no.
Oh, shit, I have
Ellie.
Essa parte eu lembro. Oh, não, não, não.
Take her to the North Tunnel and wait for me there.
Eu lembro da primeira noite que eu joguei The Last, cara. Uma das melhores noites, cara, da minha vida, porque foi quando o meu videogame tinha chegado. Eu tinha chegado do trabalho, cara, mas quase meia-noite. Aí eu botei o The Last. No sofá tava eu, minha mãe e minha irmã, todo mundo impressionado com o gráfico. Falar, caraca, mãe, olha o que eu consegui um PS4. E o jogo rodando, mano. E eu sem conseguir dormir, só jogando The Last. E a partir do dia seguinte que eu comprei o videogame chegou lá em casa. Aqui em casa. Eu fiquei meio que, tipo... Eu saía pra trabalhar de manhã, ia pra faculdade de tarde, esperando já à noite pra voltar e jogar, mano. Com essa bolada, Game Escrever, compartilhe conosco. Nossa, a água tá um gosto ruim, cara. Foi meu primeiro game no PS4, bicho.
Why would they mow down all these people?
Can't let everyone in. If you turned off the sound, you'd know that they were talking to each other. And that really helps accentuate the relationship that the two have together. We have certain animations that play
foi jogada de gênio,
beginning of the game on Ellie. She's traveling with Joel, who she doesn't really know. There's a lot of gestures to make her look nervous. Just her overall stance.
Os caras trabalharam em todos os detalhes, né, bicho?
Through the animation, not just the dialogue, you can see that she's more comfortable around him. If that reads well with the player, then, you know, we're doing our job.
Vários motivos. Tive uma conversa com o chefe hoje que me deixou desanimado e tô com o colega também. Nossa, tem dia que tudo junta, né? O Game Escrever, Thaís B, né? É, cara, tem dias que junta tudo, cara. Meus sentimentos aí, Game Escrever. Mas já passa isso tudo. Battlefield 4, eu também joguei Battlefield 4. Ah, tu veio do PS3, então tu já veio com várias expectativas, né? É, Game Escrever, tem dias pra tudo dar errado, cara. É normal.
So this is our default face, where I can make everything super extreme and make her all squinty.
Meu PC bugou, desmontei e descobri... Ah, mas uma memória RAM, tu passa uma borrachinha que de volta a funcionar.
I can open her mouth, stick her tongue out.
It's listen, watch. Okay, where's her mouth at this point? Like, is it open? Is she making like a grimace?
About Tess. I don't even know.
Here's how this thing's gonna play out.
Mano, fazer isso deve ser muito difícil, cara.
Ever. In fact, we just keep our histories to ourselves.
We shoot all of it to just get the body motion, and then we'll do a second pass with the cameras.
The scene's playing back on an overhead projector, but it's also playing back on a monitor that's attached to my rig.
Sean and I would go to the stage and motion capture the camera.
Buganizando vai fazer The Last também, Buganizando.
You know, you can change your lenses, you can use your standard 35, 85, 50s, whatever.
Eita, quanta lente bonita.
Live action camera cinematography, you can apply it on stage.
We make sure to go back in and add flaws.
We keep the confinements of the room so the camera can't go past a certain wall, because then we have this cheated perspective. If the cameraman bumps into the wall, we keep it. You know, missing focus hits when you're pulling focus, going too close to the character and reframing, those little moments in there kind of keeps it very cinema verite.
If everything was too perfect, you wouldn't be able to put your finger on it, but you'd be able to feel it. It would just feel off.
It's very much about grounding it, despite having, you know, the option to do whatever.
Being able to place the cameras anywhere we want after the motion capture gives us both advantages and disadvantages. The biggest advantage is it means that we just have to nail the best performances we can get, and the luxury is that we can always swap it.
The 3D world gives you limitless opportunities with cameras and movements, exposures.
Tu achou minha avó no Insta ou tu achou a avó da Game escrever no Insta?
Sort of set up like real world cameras. So we have lens, we have f-stop that will create the depth of field. We have aperture to set our film back and all that stuff. The master, and then I have my close-ups, my over the shoulders, sort of just like a live action production. Let's go to camera 30 at the 23.458. Then I get that kind of weird, bend across his back. The closer I bring the camera, the more bend I get, which is doesn't look right. It looks less cinematic than if I do that, which flattens the whole thing. And I'm trying to also catch Ellie. Like if you scrub a little more, catch her in the back here. So I want longer lens in that.
Os caras pensaram em tudo, bicho.
Experience working with live action before I got into video games. It was a kind of a cool adjustment.
Achou minha avó no Insta.
Have this extra flexibility in post.
Muito bom. Sempre aparece nos recomendados, né?
Even though that's
É uma doideira.
said at that time, and to be able to still have a close up on them while they said it. You get to make it probably more perfect than you could ever make it in live action.
É verdade, Cleverson. É feliz porque você vê mais natureza e você vê mais paz. Você não vê aquele mundo corrido que é o mundo atual. Mas é triste por causa das mortes, né, bicho? Quem me escrever, amanhã é outro dia, cara. Nunca eu ouvi uma frase tão certa. Amanhã é outro dia, cara. E não adianta, cara, as coisas que não dependem da gente, cara. É até bom algumas coisas ruins acontecerem pra gente cair na real e perceber que a gente não consegue controlar. Ah, cara, a gente não controla 80% da nossa vida. Essa é a realidade. Tem que focar naqueles 20% que a gente consegue controlar. E mesmo assim, já é pouco. Confio desconfiando na tua capacidade.
The floor is yours. Okay, so remember you've been running away from this turret-mounted truck. If you come to this dead end, you're going to look up and see a potential way out. And action. Check it out.
I mean, his writing is honest, and it's dangerous, and it's natural.
And I love his economy of words. He doesn't hit everything on the nose, so it leaves it open for you to interpret and bring some nuances and things like that.
The entire process is collaborative, but really it's led by Neil's willingness to change and flow and decide something doesn't work, fix it right there in the moment. And it is something that's very foreign to the way that TV and film is done now, where everything has been micromanaged by the time you get it to the table read, and no one wants you to change anything, and everything's very precious and has been rewritten with notes from 20 people in suits, and you can't do that just anywhere in entertainment these days.
Yeah, I want to make sure. I think I swung too far over to this way, and now it's a little bit of making jokes about it, and I bring it back to center. There's one scene in the game where we see Joel not as a ruthless survivor, but as a father. I knew from the very beginning that he was going to lose his daughter, and I just told Neil, I was like, when that day comes for us to shoot that, I need a heads up. About a week before, he said, it's time, we're going to do that scene. I was like, okay. Because I knew that I was going to have to go to this place that you don't really want to go to as an actor. You want to find some aspect of reality that you can empathetically.
Ele parece uma girafa.
Troy and I were both kind of just like walking around for a while.
Tô na mesma, Game escrever. Tô na mesma. Boa noite, relaxa, durma e amanhã é um novo dia, Game escrever. Era essa hora que você tem um arco e flecha que você tinha que atirar pra relaxar. Outlast, ídolo, não sei, bicho. Temos que pensar quando. É o Draco Malfoy.
It was brutal.
I lose my shit. I mean, just completely break down.
Don't do this, please, God, no.
Oh God, no!
E essa fala não foi pro jogo.
The soundstage was deathly still.
That was the first take, and I felt really good about it.
Esse é o bug que dá, é que todo mundo fica assim?
So you do it again, and
Caraca, é o bug que faz todo mundo ficar na T-pose, né? T-pose.
You're in that actor nightmare of, you know, trying to get back to that reality, and we go through it again in fifth, sixth, seventh take.
Por que tem que fazer isso, buganizando?
Crying between takes, and I'm looking at Neil going, this is really, really hard. And finally, after like the 8th or 9th take, he said, all right, I think we got it. I was like, oh, thank God. And I went outside, and I was just jacked up for the rest of the day. Just I mean, a wreck emotionally. But we got it.
Do nada, T-pose, T-pose.
And he says, so we need to reshoot a scene. I'm like, cool, what scene are we doing? And he just looks at me. I said, dude, don't do this to me.
And you can either at that moment throw your hands up in the air and say, fuck this, and walk away. Or you can say, okay, this
então eu perdi o Cleverson. Porque eu não tô conseguindo acompanhar direito a legenda.
We've got it in the can. And so we go through it again, and it just feels fake, feels artificial. And Neil goes, go through it again. So I'm doing it again, and I'm getting madder and
Valeu por me lembrar, cara, Cleverson. Muito obrigado.
Neil comes over to me, and
cara, ficou muito melhor sem esses berros, tá ligado? A forma que ele não falou nada quando a Sarah morreu foi um silêncio mais barulhento do que 1000 gritos.
I need you to just give yourself all these ideas, and I need you to hit this beat, and this beat, and this beat, and this beat, which just makes it sound so mechanical and such an emotional scene. So we start going through it, and literally I am mindlessly doing these things at this point.
I know it hurts, baby. I know. So I'm gonna lift you up. I'm gonna lift you up. I'm gonna get you over here. Come on, baby. Come on, work with me, please. God, baby. Sarah.
Caralho, vai tomar no.
Don't do this to me, baby. Don't do this to me, baby. Come on.
And he stops. He goes, now we got it. And I realized that the reason why I wanted that first take to work was because I wanted everyone to look at me and go, wow, what an actor. And that's not what the scene needed.
Those moments where you just have to sort of calm your ego down and just go back and do your work.
That scene actually works, not because of me, but in spite of me. And that really is the marker and definition of working with a truly good director.
There are many like it, but this one is yours.
É, tá explicado mesmo. Ele tava querendo ser teimoso, querendo meter o bedelho. Ele não tava querendo seguir a instrução do Neil.
Thanks, guys.
Um claquete virtual. Eu acho que é isso mesmo, cara. É por isso que tem muito bug que fica com T-pose. T-pose. Um claquete virtual é muito bom, cara. Olha o Gustavo Santa lá.
Listen, baby, I know this. You'll be okay, baby. Stay with me. I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby. I know. Come on, baby, please. I know, baby. I know.
Vai tomar no cu, tô arrepiado, bicho.
Baby.
Ah, tô arrupiado.
My life has been and still is kind of like a road movie. I grew up in Argentina. I came to the United States in 1978 because we had a horrible political situation in Argentina. We had a military dictatorship where 30,000 people disappeared at the hands of the government and many other more were tortured, and I was blacklisted it was just impossible for me to keep on living there. I've been in jailed many times since I was probably 15 years old, just because I had long hair and I play an electric guitar. So I had to embark on this trip. I can relate to that kind of need of
Legal que botaram ele também no documentário.
Next place and the next place and the next step. I'm always attracted to the possibility of getting involved with a project from the very beginning. I like to work from the script and talking to the director.
It's never been, oh, give me a piece like this, or give me a music that's this. It's just been very high level. Here's what the story's about. Here are the themes. Go write some stuff.
Since I don't know how to really read or write music, by the way I produce music is actually recording it. So I like to come early in the projects, and I did in The Last of Us. One thing that was fantastic from the very, very beginning was the freedom that I had to try and to do whatever I felt could work, you know?
As the story was still being written, you could listen to this piece of music and just get a sense of where this needs to go tonally, because the music was still inspiring the story. So that was the great thing of having the music written so far in advance.
Ah, um modelo padrão de 3D. Mano, ele fugiu da Argentina só porque ele era cabeludo.
So I really felt very motivated to work, and I enjoyed immensely working.
Ah, eu era cabeludo e tocava guitarra, então por isso me prendiam.
One element was inspiring the other and vice versa.
I needed to go into some more dark places, more textural and not necessarily melodic. I'm always trying to sort of push myself into playing instruments that I don't know how to play. There's an element of danger and innocence. Lennon once said, you know, give me a tuba and I will be able to do I'm an artist. I should be able to do something. I like to put myself in that situation.
Ah, o Shawn James, esse maluco fez uma música muito boa, cara. Antes de lançarem The Last of Us 2, ele fez aquela Through the Valley, né? Ah, Walk. É maneiro. O maluco tá serrando a madeira. Ele tá criando instrumento, bicho. O maluco virou índio.
And also in The Last of Us in particular, I work with the detune guitar, so I really tune the guitar.
Ah, pronto. Ele vai fazer música pro Indiana Jones.
You know, strings that are very loose and will produce not only sound but produce noise. Because I believe, you know, every environment has its own sound. We have in our, you know, small studio, we have actually the possibility to record almost anywhere, including the bathroom, and we have done some fabulous recording, especially in the kitchen.
Caraca!
When you score to picture, which is something that I don't do, then you know.
Ele fazia música e botava música para tocar no banheiro, na cozinha.
Music, like I've done in all the films that I've done, and then you see how the director decided to use that, you know, in what particular way he uses it or where they edit it. It's always fascinating to me. I watch a scene and I'm going, you know, it's fantastic how they use this beat. I would have never, of all the music that I've done, probably I would have never used.
Fala, Adriano Silva. Faz sim, mano. Eu descobri ontem que esse filme faz parte do jogo, The Last of Us 1. Tá nos bônus. Que paraíso, cagando e ouvindo a soundtrack de The Last. Essa é uma das músicas que eu mais gosto, cara. Mano, o Hans Zimmer, cara, do Interestelar é do caralho, velho. Eu conheci o Hans Zimmer, cara, em 2013, eu acho. Ou 2011. Quando ele fez a trilha sonora do Thor. Eu comecei a pesquisar na internet, mano, quem fez a trilha sonora do Thor. E achei esse maluco. Mentira, cara, eu nem tinha internet. Eu tava ouvindo rádio à noite. E eu tava numa estação que só tocava música clássica. Aí tocou uma música desse Hans Zimmer. Eu anotei o nome dele num papelzinho pra pesquisar quando eu pudesse usar a internet.
Ha, got you.
Home, The Last Bug. Eu não lembro dessa. Não, eu quero ver eles, eu quero eles falando sobre a cena final no Hospital dos Vagalumes. É isso que eu quero, cara. Eu quero um parecer deles sobre a música, sobre quem teve a ideia de criar isso, porque foi genial, cara. Mano, então, Adriano, tô querendo muito série do HBO. Justamente porque, cara, a interpretação, a alma que você coloca quando os atores interpretam esse jogo tem que ser, cara, algo condizente, saca? Então eu tô muito animado pra série da HBO, cara. E ver eles dando a vida por isso, sabe? Por esse jogo, por essa história. Vai ser animal, cara. Gosto da música do tema do Forrest Gump.
Derek and I basically decided to hire a couple of voice actors who did some interesting work vocally to see if they could come up with something. And we worked with this girl, Misty Lee. She started giving us these
Cara, o The Last ele atingiu um patamar tão absurdo que eu acho que nada vai chegar perto, cara. Infelizmente uma estragadinha faz parte, cara. Por isso que eu acho que eles deveriam ter usado os mesmos atores que foram usados pra gravar o jogo. Os caras já têm a alma do jogo, mano.
That's just me, you know, moving my tongue. Just, and what that kind of did was it sort of grounded it all, like maybe.
Pô, cara, eu queria uma camisa dessa da Naughty Dog, hein, bicho.
Nice texture, actually. This is a composite of all the bits.
Será que eles enviam pra mim, cara?
Sounds like a Snapple bottle.
Oh, the lid?
Like the lid, yeah.
Hey, that's a good idea. Fuck, where were you guys like months ago? Why didn't we think of that? Why didn't we think of that? Stupid. Viewers at home, you're probably wondering what this is. Let me tell you. About 10 years ago, I saw this Synthie A suitcase synth. I wanted to get one. This finally arrived in January, just in time to start using. I thought, well, what can I do with this?
Nossa, que
Lakeside,
som irritante.
there's a whiteout that happens. And this thing has a noise generator, which gives really convincing wind sound.
É verdade. A atriz que fez a Ellie não tem a mesma idade. A atriz que fez a Ellie deve ter uns 40 anos agora. Tô brincando, uns 30. O maluco virou um pato pra imitar o clicker. Ih, virou um show de música eletrônica.
What?
Nothing, it's just... I've never seen anything like this, that's all.
You mean the woods?
Yeah. Never walked in the woods. It's kind of cool.
We consciously take in consideration lighting in the beginning.
Most of the game, we don't really have any real man-made light sources, so everything is naturally lit.
É, isso que eu queria saber também, da iluminação, mano.
We have to hide most of the time, and that requires getting very close to certain assets.
Just stay back.
Cara, a iluminação desse jogo é muito perfeita, cara.
Detail's expensive, and if you build up too much of it, you end up running into technical problems, right? Your engine slows down.
When the frame rate goes down, everyone can bring up the profiling tools and see which parts of the frame actually caused the drop.
Ah, olha só a merda que é quando você coloca um detalhe.
Profiling tool. These are all the SPUs. Here's the GPU, and then here's the PPU. You can see like
here's the main process and here's all the sub-processes, and you can see, tells you like how many milliseconds and cycles it's taking. The programmers are whiz at modifying this stuff and realizing, oh my god, why is this thing so big? We're taking 10 milliseconds on this thing. And then that's when they come over and find somebody and over there with the club and be like, why are you doing this? I love, we put the 30 frames per second goal because that's what we shoot for. Someone nicely put the 60 frames per second goal.
Come on,
we're not going to get that.
Lighters usually can come up with different lighting setup that still looks great.
Ó, a camisa dele,
less
cara.
costly in terms of performance.
Did you talk to the character artist about her hand? So her face is getting a lot of spec, but then her arm is just like bone dry.
You think something we can tweak and shade here? We'll have to send back to character team Michael to take a look.
I can play with the lights and see if that's creates more like spec.
Yeah. I've never ever focused so much on lighting and how much sensitivity there is to that here.
One of the first lighting scenarios I had to do was like 7 a.m. like overcast, and I'd like wake up early and like take photos with my phone. What color are the shadows? What color is the light?
It is
Bom trabalho, 06.
unto itself of how to deal with ambient
Bom
lighting, because I've
trabalho,
never had to use it
06.
so much.
Man, this is kind of sad.
What is?
All this music that's just sitting here.
O cara usou
No one's around.
cores
listening
da
to
vida
it.
real, cara. Do horário
I don't
certo.
know. Doesn't seem right.
Não ficou tirando cor do nada.
Shadows onto the environment, even when there is no direct sunlight or no direct.
O cara se baseou na vida real, cara, na iluminação do ambiente real.
And you see your self shadow.
É por isso que esse jogo é tão perfeito, cara.
Projecting on the wall, on the environment that make everything look real.
Okay.
The flashlight brought a whole new spin on it. So some of the environments end up being really, really dark, and you need the flashlight to get around.
Give me your hand.
We want to have the environment be really dark, but also at the same time have colorful surfaces that are sort of hidden, so when a flashlight hits one of those, it bounces off onto the ceiling.
If you shine a line on a red wall, it will bounce the red lighting on the whole environment.
And it's very difficult to do. Very
A iluminação da
expensive, but
lanterna
we
ficou
did it.
perfeita também.
Everything should have a bounce lighting. Otherwise, the world is gonna feel dry and unrealistic.
I guess this is where the assholes sleep.
Mano, lembrando que isso é um jogo de 10 anos atrás, cara.
This engine is really driven in a way.
Exatamente.
A very high
Tem a
level
paleta
of
certa,
cinematic
cara. É a paleta
control
realista.
each frame. And hopefully, if we achieve our
Não é
goal, you'll
colocar
see
qualquer
it is
cor.
beautiful. There are these truly beautiful moments amid all this chaos and destruction.
Yeah, once we're done with this whole thing.
E o The Last 2 deixa a desejar um pouquinho nisso, sabia? Eu não sinto que eles se importaram muito com as cores, cara. Eles botaram só cor triste, sabe? O The Last, ele é tão acolhedor, eu tenho a impressão que é por causa das cores, cara. Tá sempre finalzinho de tarde, né? Ó, agora tá meio vermelho, meio laranja, marrom, castanho.
The story
Vai fazer 10 anos amanhã,
really
bicho, que
dictates
isso?
sort of the arc of the overall pacing.
Storytelling would always want to be subtle. They would always want to keep the world grounded in reality. But gameplay has requirements where the player needs to see this thing. The player needs to immediately know that the enemy is attacking, that this room is dangerous, that this room is a puzzle that you have to solve.
What are the things that we can do on the joystick to make you feel the same way that these characters are going to feel when we get to this next pinch point in the story? There's a turn in a scene that we need these characters to take, and we need you to feel it or understand that, and that means you have to play it.
Sam! Oh, thank God. Keep running. Ah! Doorway, over there.
Run! We really want to make sure that there's that contrast between the negative space and then the high tension spikes.
Pô, Adriano, eu me amarro no multiplayer do The Last 1. O problema é que o modo de jogo dele é enjoativo.
A lot of times we won't play
Jogo eu não enjoo, mas a galera
very
enjoa, né?
minimal music just to let you know kind of the state whether you're still in stealth or combat has broken out.
Vai fazer 10 anos ano que vem só, Ítalo.
Hearing a person breathing on the other side of the door.
É,
has
cara,
so much tension
mas
to
sei
it.
lá, mano, tristeza o tempo todo, assim como alegria o tempo todo não são realistas, né? E o The Last 2 é só tristeza, cara. Só fica com o solzinho lá quando ela vai pra Santa Bárbara.
That's another reason why we don't have traditional cover in the game.
O jogo Defante parece mesmo. O Neil
Contextualizing
Druckmann
the
parece o
environment,
jogo
you're never
Defante.
locked down. We want the player to, with that crafting system, with the scavenging system, with all of the abilities available to them, to constantly be moving around and changing as the moment arises.
Gameplay is all about, I have a limited set of tools, and how am I going to use those tools and those limitations to overcome this obstacle in front of me. And that obstacle might be infected.
Valeu, organizando. Vai dormir,
another
bicho.
class of humans that
Boa
must
noite, cara.
go
Obrigado por ter
for
aparecido aí, cara.
bottled alcohol in my shoes.
Tamo junto, organizando.
It was important for us that we don't underplay the violence because then the threat doesn't seem as real.
We see video games as
É, o multiplayer não tem história, bicho.
medium to tell stories. We want to treat it as
Eu jurava que o multiplayer eu ia controlar o Joel.
or comics or TV or movies. This is subject matter that would not be considered out of the ordinary to tell in one of those other forms.
Mas sei lá, cara, a graça do multiplayer é meio que você usar a mecânica, sabe? A mecânica do The Last é muito boa.
We wanted you to buy just the desperation of these people and why they're behaving this way because it's so brutal. And at the same time, we didn't want to make it so over the top, stylizing it, so that it doesn't become as real. It was important for us to actually take
Fala,
the
Mate.
foreground where it's-
Eu descobri ontem, mano, que esse documentário tá aqui, cara. Como que você tá, Mate? Tranquilo? Deixem seu like aí, rapaziada. E o Gardebai ainda tá aí? Caraca, Gardebai. Na batata do PS3. Mano, muita compressão, cara. Era final de... Esse é o típico de jogo que sai em final de geração, sabe? Quando os desenvolvedores já sabem trabalhar com hardware e com software da plataforma.
You want to feel each hit. You want to feel each concussive strike. Lives are at stake.
É, você controla um NPC, exatamente, Adriano.
Just have a guy keel over ragdoll. In real life, a guy hitting a guy takes
Não teve documentário 2 por causa do Crunch? Quem é Crunch? Tô suave, Mate. Suavão não tô, mas tô suave. O objetivo do multiplayer é tu matar o máximo e abrir caixas. Tem 3 modos de jogo. É o que faz ser um pouquinho enjoado, sabe? Fala, Binho, já tá terminando já, cara. Acho que já tem mais de 1 hora de filme já. Eu acho que o filme tem 1h20. Então, Cleverson, eu acho que vai rolar um modo multiplayer de hordas. Tipo o DayZ que você tá falando. Tipo assim, entrar um grupo de amigos pra sobreviver num mundo apocalíptico, tá ligado? Num jogo de cooperativo. Você se une com amigos pra sobreviver num mundo apocalíptico.
Puts him in this like kind of staggering stun state, and that changes the moves that you do when you come up and punch him. So now I'm gonna come up and punch him, and now when you're punching him, because you've hit him down, you get this like auto aim moment where you get like a free
É a
shot.
porrada,
Try to make
o
it
ataque
so that,
físico, né?
you know, if you kind of know what you're
É
doing,
absurdamente
then you can
maneiro.
set yourself up for
É
1+2
satisfatório demais, cara. De falar que nem God of War chega perto. Olha lá, cara.
Memory on a console is a very precious
Fazer
resource.
RP de The Last,
All Joel's
cara.
animations with every weapon, all the NPC animations, the stealth kills,
Todo
you know, all
mundo
that stuff
imitando
happening need to fit within a
Joel.
4 meg to 5 meg memory footprint.
Boa, Binho,
This
fazer
is
uma
a list
tatu,
of
mano.
everything that's loaded in game and how much memory it's taking because memory is our most
RP de
precious
The Last deve
resource.
ser muito engraçado, mano.
So we have a level, we call it the Bookstore, it's in Hunter City, and this is a zone, for example. So when I set an AI to this zone, he will never leave its boundaries. I want guys to guard this exit where you have to go through, so I'll zone a couple guys around there to make sure that they, you know, they can fight you and use all this cover, but they want to stay around this door.
Ah,
This is another
mano.
key component of the AI.
Ih, caraca, meu
Called
PS4 vai
Navmesh.
desligar em 10
This
minutos.
defines the overall play space of where an AI knows he can or cannot go. Hey, look, that's where a cover
Caraca.
used to be. And there's a
Pera
hole
aí.
cut out.
Ah, tem como pausar assim, eu que não tava sabendo pausar. Tinha que apertar pause pra pausar e eu queria pausar no X. É por isso que eu tava perdendo o filme todo. Crunch é quando a equipe de desenvolvimento do game se esforça ou é forçada para trabalhar horas extras para finalizar o jogo. É, cara, exatamente por isso que eles demoraram para entregar o multiplayer, cara. Digo, estão demorando para entregar o multiplayer. Porque a equipe tá acabada, ninguém no estúdio Naughty Dog quer saber mais do The Last, cara. Porra, com razão, né, cara? Com razão.
Out for it. I gotta fix that. Here's some other wonderful things. See these little red polygons?
Mano, você
the
também
ones
a tela
they're
fica
not
azul
linking
porque o
right for some
PS4
reason. That means
desligou.
they can't really walk through here properly. It's a bug, and I need to fix it. Welcome to my life.
If you look at a lot of games, NPCs are usually only alive for, you know, a few seconds before the player ends up shooting them and then they're dead. We want our guys to be much more dangerous.
Ray Tracing no final da geração do PS4 ou do PS5?
Exist in the world for longer, which means you as the player can witness
Ah, do
them
PS5, né?
acting out their behaviors for longer.
Eu também lembro quando saiu o teaser do The Last 2, cara. Na real, The Last 2 era pra ter saído mais cedo.
So we've been working really hard on our AI systems. Back of the box.
Sim, Adriano Silva, vai ter o multiplayer do The Last 2, a gente só não sabe quando.
So we tried a number of different prototypes with the buddies, including having Ellie be super independent of you. She would try to flank the enemies, get behind them, or get between you.
Vai sair só em 2018, 2019. Mal sabia que só no meio de 2020, mano. Meio não, final de 2020, né?
You need the exploration, you need the scavenging, you need
É, tá tendo rumor de The Last
okay,
Remake e rumor de multiplayer do The Last 2. Parece que é uma equipe totalmente nova que tá fazendo The Last Multiplayer 2.
There's no way of shifting the pacing.
Puzzles are really weird, especially like Naughty Dog puzzles. I think they're very simple and satisfying. Most of this puzzle is strict exploration. You can see the ladder here. You can see the pallet there. You can see a clear route up to the ladder. So you're like, okay, maybe you have to get Ellie to the pallet, push the pallet over to this side, and like Ellie will climb up and lower the ladder. So that whole part is like, that's not a puzzle, that's not regarded as a puzzle, but when you feel
Alice
like
tem
you've got
razão,
the
seja
solution,
bem-vindo, Alice.
okay, I'm gonna climb this ladder.
Obrigado por ter chegado aí na live.
Hopefully then the player
Do jeito que o desenvolvimento da franquia é conturbado,
what I meant to do now, and so this is where the puzzle starts. Hopefully at this point, like all of the elements
se
that the player needs
vier o The Last Part 3, eu não espero que seja menos pra 2025, isso é verdade.
exploration beats, they're improvising
Totalmente
with
verdade, cara.
elements that are at their disposal. That's a really sort of
E isso é o que a gente sabe, né? Fora os problemas que só quem trabalhou lá dentro sabe. Eu tenho uma amiga que tem um amigo que trabalha lá, cara, e só tem história bizarra. Teve um maluco que tá sendo processado em $500 mil só porque ele vazou. Ele vazou a data de lançamento do The Last 2. O maluco tá sendo processado até hoje. Cara, esse jogo não precisa de um remake, cara. Os caras estão querendo só ganhar dinheiro. Então, cara, eles querem fazer dinheiro porque eles realmente já trabalharam bastante nesse jogo.
it's difficult to balance the
Então
right
meio
amount of resources
que o que veio na minha cabeça agora é que eles estão querendo ganhar um dinheiro meio que pra renovar a equipe. Tipo assim, ó galera, ó, tá dando dinheiro aqui, vocês vão ganhar um dinheiro junto também. Bora ver que isso aqui é nossa galinha dos ovos de ouro. Eles vão monetizar esse multiplayer, cara, até a última gota.
Then we want you as the player to be finding fewer items, farther apart, harder to survive.
Cara, não vai ser pago não, cara. Talvez seja multiplataforma o multiplayer do The Last 2.
Starved and worn out. Then you expose something to them. Oh, here's a cache. If I can just get into that cache. Oh, look, there's a wealth of things in here. God, I was so worried. My health was low. If I had run into a combat, because it's always that thing in your head, it's that Hitchcockian thing about the danger that you see is less meaningful than the danger that's in your
Cara, eu
head.
gosto muito da mecânica do 1, cara. Eu não sei se eu mudaria não. Em alguns pontos eu gosto mais da mecânica do 1 do que da mecânica do 2. A mecânica do 2 é tão mais complexa que às vezes eu sinto falta de uma mecânica mais simples. Mano, se só sair pra PS5, cara, eu vou ficar bem triste. Mas eu acredito que não, cara, porque o jogo foi lançado inicialmente pra PS4, né, cara?
The player is supposed to go place a ladder here and climb up through the rest of the hotel. But what they can also do is shimmy across this area, and I place a really cool like upgrade kind of off the beaten path to reward players for exploring. So if they come all the way over here, they're going to get this really cool training manual.
It's a funny little bit of trivia. The HUD system, not the menus, not like when you hit start and stuff, but the actual HUD system where you see the reticles and stuff, was literally created for an E3 demo early in Uncharted 1, and that's been our HUD system, the foundation of our HUD system for the last 4 games. First time in Naughty Dog's history, we hired Alex. She's awesome, and she's got a really good understanding of UI and how it applies to games.
The thing that I hate about any game's UI is when it pulls you out of the game.
A musiquinha da girafa aí de
no
novo.
one wants to spend time in menus. Nobody loves UI, if we're being honest. Like, weapon slotting has probably gone through more iterations than any other system. The stuff that we finally ended up implementing, you press select, you get into this menu, then you D-pad left and right through the slots, and then D-pad
Concordo
up and
inteiramente com a
down
Alice, cara.
will change the weapon.
Cara, lógico que a
and then
gente
just
gostaria
don't
de
press
ver
F
essa
and
história
just
incrível
select out of it. When you're
com o
still,
gráfico
like,
do The Last
Joel
2.
here, that's fine, but then as soon as
Principalmente
you
ver o
get
Joel,
into an
sabe?
actual situation, so
Essas luzes de final de tarde que eu tanto falei agora mais cedo.
Oh, God. Alright, so now I'm out of ammo. Now I need to, like, get back in that menu. I have to, like, run away from them. Get into the menu. Get out of it. And it ends up feeling, like, super clunky. Like, again, okay, I'm out of ammo again. Get out of here. I need to take out one of my other long guns. And now Bill's in trouble. Bill's in trouble over here. And I've got to, like, I'm in a menu now, and it's like, oh, shit, whoever designed this UI is so bad. Like, what were they thinking? Bill's gonna die. In theory,
Olha, ela é boa de mira, mano.
but then in practice, it felt a little clunky.
We wanted it to be the absolute minimum amount of button presses. You don't say to yourself, oh, I'm never going to be able to do this in time, so I'm just going to give up. I'll die, I'll restart, let me try again. You want to always make the player feel that there is a way to survive. They can just do this fast enough.
And like, what's gonna go in now? If you just left, right, D-pad.
Nossa,
do
mulher
this stuff,
braba,
you
hein?
swap out your guns, like between long gun and short gun. If you're now on this gun and you were to hold X to pick your gun, so it all happens within the same system that you're using to slot the weapons. The first iteration that I did on that was awful. It just took way too long to get in. It was just a mess. QA was so upset at me
Brasileira, hein?
all the time. They should hate me now because of that system.
Brasileira ela, hein? Isso é uma lan house. Bora, eu quero ver a cena do hospital, cara. Já pensou em discão no campeonato internacional de multiplayer de The Last?
Maturing and changing in general.
Meus
You're
amigos.
seeing a lot more focus and importance on
refinement and polish. So having internal QA really helps. The industry is kind of changing.
Já pensou, cara? O jogo antigo ser melhor do que o jogo novo?
Kind of vibe to like really being a more technical.
Cara, eu queria uma nova história. Mas uma história totalmente nova, cara. No universo de The Last, assim como o Cleverson falou. Mas só que numa história totalmente paralela, mano. Sabe as histórias que a gente encontra, as histórias paralelas que a gente encontra, principalmente naquela na praia que a gente encontra a história do Ishi, que ele protegeu as crianças no esgoto e tal. Então, a gente tinha que ter uma história de The Last assim, cara. Aí que entra o gráfico do The Last 2, mais uma história do The Last 1. Ia ser muito da hora, cara. Essas histórias que aparecem em cartinhas. Tipo daquele cara que é um atirador de arco e flecha, né? No 2. Valeu, Adriano Silva, tamo junto, mano. Se inscreva aí no canal, deixa o like e apareça nas próximas lives. Tô fazendo live quase todo dia há mais de 9 meses. O canal vai fazer 1 ano mês que vem. Caraca, o canal já tem 1 ano, gente. E aí, Raposo Nato, beleza? O Boris, esse aí. Fala, Isabelinha. Como que você tá? Caraca, o canal vai fazer 1 ano, cara. Deixa eu ver isso aqui. Quando foi que o meu primeiro vídeo bombou? Ah, pera aí. O meu vídeo começou a bombar, mano. Putz. Exatamente 1 ano, cara. O meu canal começou há 1 ano.
Crunching is part of making games. I feel it's human nature, right?
Na real, cara, desde o dia desde o dia 14 de março eu tive 30 visualizações, 20, 60. Aí durante abril chegou uma época que bateu 200. Foi dia 27 de abril. A partir daí bateu 1.000, 5.000, 8, 21, 23 mil, 166 mil. Caraca, é isso mesmo. 1 ano mais ou menos atrás. Eu não fazia ideia que eu ia chegar aqui, bicho. Tô bem também, Isabela. Tô bem, mais ou menos, mas tô bem. E valeu, Cleves, tamo junto. Perdeu muita coisa, João Vitor? Perdeu, mano. Várias ideias maneiras aqui. Eu poderia fazer histórias passando nos primeiros anos da infecção. Sim, aqueles 20 anos esquecidos, né, cara? Tem 20 anos aí que podem ser muito bem explorados nos próximos 20 anos. Poxa, Alice, fico feliz, cara, que você me acompanha, cara. Muito obrigado. De verdade. Esse canal significa muito pra mim, cara. Cadê meus games? Manda um salve pra Parnaíba, Piauí. Salve, Parnaíba, Piauí. Tamo junto. Seja bem-vindo aí, cadê meus games? Gostei do nome, bicho. O primeiro clipe de The Last 2 que bombou foi quando eu joguei bomba pro alto. Quando eu dei um rage quit. Joguei a bomba pro alto e acabei matando vários serafitas, cara. Gostei de te ver por aqui, Alice. Apareça mais. Tamo junto, cadê meus games?
Kind of amazing what it will take to get there in these next 5 weeks. It's going to be a lot. I'm excited. I have faith.
Every time we're shipping a game, it's terrifying. You just hope for the best.
You don't know, right? I mean, people have different opinions. We have to go with our guts. But I trust the team just to pull it off.
Acabou, hein? Acho que acabou, hein?
This, hands down, is the hardest, most challenging thing I've ever done. We sweat a lot, and we worked a lot, and we all went home tired, you know? But I think that's what's... You're going to see that on the screen. I think it's going to pay off.
Ellie?
Tira o tênis do sofá, menina.
Ladder.
Poderia ser a história de um vagalume perdendo a fé na causa e na facção aos poucos. Cara, mas meio que isso de perder a fé já é bem característica do Joel, né?
Ellie's visibly distant. you could have done a cutscene to show, hey, you're being very distant, and she's not responding, but to also do that in gameplay.
A primeira gameplay de The Last 2, o pessoal pensou que era fake, eu não lembro qual era.
You know, let me boost you up here, get the ladder, bring it down so we can do this systemic thing. And the character responds with that, and you have to actually go over to her and go, hey, come on, the ladder, we've done this, let's do this. It's a subtle choice.
Like Bruce and I talked in the beginning, is like we have these mechanics, how can we exploit them in a narrative sense? And that's one of those opportunities.
I just think it's incredible that that happens in game. It's not a cinematic. You know, it's something that adds weight to that controller when you're playing.
A musiquinha da girafa.
Let's go eat. Let's go eat.
Acabou. 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 Não mostraram a cena do hospital, cara. É a que eu mais queria ver, cara. Principalmente o NPC que fez o Jerry, pai da Abby. O Joel carregando a garotinha no colo. Fala, Kraken. Já tem um resumo da The Last 3, mas, cara... Não tô levando fé que eles vão fazer isso tão cedo. O Joel matando as enfermeiras, o Cleverson aí. Vai dar direito autoral. Vai dar direito autoral. E eu não vou monetizar mais. Eu me ferrei. 50 anos andando agachado o jogo inteiro, tá inteiraço. O Joel só tá o osso agora, mano. Ah não, mano, o 2 é uma ponte pro 3, cara. Também vou dormir, rapaziada, tô cheio de sono, cara. Caraca, essa Sabrina ele tá acordada até essa hora, bicho. Vamos dormir, rapaziada, da tarde. 1h25 de filme, cara. Só vocês mesmo. Eu juro. Tá, se não tem ali, a gente vê aqui. Comigo é assim.
Mãos pra cima!
Ela não tá respirando.
Falei mãos pra cima, porra!
Vamos, Ellie!
Tome.
Bem-vindo aos vagalumes. Desculpem pelo... Não sabiam quem vocês eram.
E a Ellie?
Ela tá bem. Levaram ela de volta.
Você
veio até aqui.
Aí, pra quem não sabe, eu recebi do YouTube, eu fui qualificado pra receber o Valeu Demais. Valeu Demais é tipo um donate que eu posso receber em qualquer tipo de vídeo. Fica do lado do joinha, se eu não me engano. Então, se vocês abrirem um vídeo meu, vai ter um espaço assim, tipo, Valeu Demais. É um coraçãozinho com cifrão.
Perdi a maior parte da minha equipe cruzando.
Aí eu posso receber um donate sem estar em live, cara. Olha que maneiro.
Perdi tudo. Então você aparece e encontramos vocês bem a tempo de salvá-la. Talvez seja o destino.
É o médico de verde no primeiro e o médico de azul no segundo.
Você não precisa mais se preocupar com ela. Vamos cuidar de...
Só me leve até ela, tá?
Os caras nem foram avisados de que ia chegar um homem com uma criancinha que era a cura para a humanidade. E dão uma paulada na cabeça do
Os
homem.
médicos me disseram que o Cordyceps que cresceu nela sofreu uma mutação. Por isso ela é imune.
A dublagem
Quando
tá
for
meio
removido,
zoada aqui.
poderão fazer engenharia reversa e criar uma vacina. Uma vacina.
Mas ele cresce no cérebro.
O Joe sacou de primeira, cara.
Acho outra pessoa.
Não tem mais ninguém.
Olha aqui, você vai me mostrar onde...
Pare. Já entendi. Mas isso que você pensa que está sentindo agora nem se compara com o que eu passei. Eu conheço ela desde que nasceu. E prometi à sua mãe que cuidaria dela.
E por que vai deixar isso acontecer?
Porque não
Tá aí uma
depende
história
de mim,
legal também
nem
da
dela.
gente saber. Essa história
Não
da Marlene
existe
com a mãe da
outra
Ellie.
opção.
É, o mundo do Joe caindo de novo aos nossos olhos, cara.
Tá, continue dizendo essa mentira pra você mesma.
Tirem ele daqui. Se tentar alguma coisa, atirem. Não desperdice esse presente, Joe.
Tá, vou revelar que eu não lembrava muito dessa cena.
Levanta. Mandei levantar.
Um foco bem no relógio quebrado dele. Fala, Beluga, tá sumido, bicho.
Vai. Sai.
Como é que você tá, cara?
Mandei sair. Me dá uma desculpa.
Me dê motivos.
O que você tá fazendo? Continua andando. Mandei continuar andando.
Onde é a sala de operações? Não tenho tempo pra isso. Onde? Onde?
No último andar. No fim do corredor.
O Joe é vascaíno, cara, por quê? Solução, matar todo mundo e condenar a humanidade, exato. Ah, não tem. Eu queria ver ele salvando ela. O que aconteceu aí, Beluga? Saúde mental pegou, bicho?
Não pode salvá-la. Mesmo que tire ela de lá. E depois?
Dá uma olhadinha no site do
Quanto tempo
CVV,
aquela
cara,
será
se tu
despedaçada
precisar
por um bando de
conversar, cara.
instaladores?
Aí
E
você
se
vai
não
conversar
for
com um
estuprar
especialista psicólogo. Seria bem legal. É CVV. Ou tu liga pro 188.
Assassinada antes.
A decisão não é sua.
É o que ela gostaria.
É, isso aqui a gente já sabe o que
Você
acontece.
sabe disso.
Cara, tô com vontade de jogar The Last of Us 1 de novo, mano. Mas eu vou embora, cara. Eu preciso dormir. Muito obrigado pra quem ficou até agora, cara. E eu vou indo nessa. Tô cheio de sono já. Mas vê se aparece aí, Beluga. Pra conversar com a gente, pra distrair a cabeça. Ativa a notificação pra tu não perder quando estiver ao vivo. Nossa, Brini, que ele ainda tá aqui, cara. Valeu, Gaderby, valeu, Cadê Meus Games, valeu, Beluga, vê se aparece mais. E se tu precisar, mano, tem o CVV, ó, vou colocar aqui, ó, CVV. Tu pode colocar no Google. E eles têm um número, se não me engano, 1888. que é apoio psicológico. E você sempre pode procurar na internet, cara, centros de apoio psicológico, principalmente em faculdades que oferecem uma taxa simbólica ou questões de... Ou tu pode procurar também no Google atendimento social, psicologia, você vai encontrar alguns lugares que atendem com ou de graça ou só com uma taxinha simbólica, sabe? Foi aí que eu encontrei uma terapeuta e foi aí que eu me consulto. E recomendo. Valeu, rapaziada. Vou indo nessa. Serve pra todo mundo essa dica, hein? Atendimento com custo, atendimento social. Um abraço, até a próxima. Fui.